A very good morning to my teachers and friends. My name is Tong Jian Wei and our group will be discussing about breaking up big tech company. I am the Prime Minister of this house and this house would support breaking up of big tech companies. In September 2019, a website called Vox published a data that almost 66% of American citizens support breaking up big tech companies. Before starting, the speaker would like to clarify about the meaning of breaking up big tech companies. Companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Huawei, and etc. are considered as a big tech companies. The meaning of breaking up big tech companies is that they break up those big tech companies and make it into a few small companies. First of all, companies such as Amazon, Shopee, Taobao are selling almost everything on the internet at a cheaper price. This is due to the reason that the sellers online do not need to pay for their expenses like rent and electricity bill, which will cost a lot of money. If there are no online shops like the companies I listed above, people will be forced to buy their things they need on a smaller shops, and this will give business opportunities to them. It will also increase job opportunities since the more business they make, the more jobs they have. So they might just hire workers to make their job easier. Apart from opportunities, breaking up big tech companies will reduce data privacy concerns. In April 2021, Facebook faced data breaches in which 533 million of users' information were leaked. This case is not the only case that Facebook encountered data breach. It is very simple for hackers to get all users' information on the big tech companies once those companies got hacked, and there will be a lot of users' information leaked into the website. If big tech companies break up, there won't be this much information leaked to the website since all users' information are scattered on a lot of companies, not only Facebook. This will make those hackers need to hack into a lot of company instead of one company to get all the users' information.
Hi, we are from Group 113 and our members contain Rakhat, Ola, Lim Dao Kang, and me, Fu Keyun. And we are the opposite side for this debate. Hi, I am the opposition leader from Group 113, and today I am afraid that we are going to disagree with breaking up the big tech company. And here is why. We think that if we break up the company, a lot of research and development will be lost. I mean like a lot of loss. In a big tech company, they spend a lot of time, a lot of money just to increase the speed of research and development. If we break this company up, all the work that done by that company will most likely be wasted, and it can really cause a huge impact not only for the economy and also the whole world. We think that the progression for R&D of the company is heavily depends on the size of it, because the bigger the company, the greater the money they make for them to increase the progression of R&D, research and development. For example, we have Facebook, Facebook, that nearly spent about 14.9 million only for R&D. Only for R&D, 14.9 million. Such as AI, voice recognition, and much more. If we break those company down, all of that things will be stopped or the progression will be slower, and this is a huge waste of that. This will cause our world to be not as advanced as today. It can really bring us a lot of disadvantage to the country or even to the world. The other reason that we should not break the company up is it will really increase the service cost. Like we can say, nowadays people are hugely depending on those big technology company platform, social media platform, like like for example Facebook, like Google, and etc. Based on the real world statistic, 56.8% of people is using this type of platform in their daily life. Hence, we can easily assume that this is one of the most important things for them. And yeah, so but most of the service cost by for those platform is zero. It's not like all lah, but the most of the platform. And this is because all those platform had advertiser to help the people from huge amount of service costs. And those advertiser also help to maintain that specific platform. So you can imagine if every single big tech company is break up in the world, the amount of money that we have to pay for the service will be unimaginable high. It's like really really high. The user will have to pay a lot, I mean like a lot of money for their service only, because the startup of that company will not be able to benefit from a free business model. Yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you.
My name is Yuli Singh. First point is breaking up big tech to lose their domination in economy. Big tech is also known as tech giant or big five, which are Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft. In 2019, only three countries in the world, which are US, China, and Japan, have higher GDP than Big Five's combined market value of approximately $4 trillion. First, they have controlled the economy. For example, nearly 90% of internet searches are going through Google. And then Facebook and Google together occupy nearly 60% of all digital ad spending in 2019, where most of the advertisement money goes. This is how Facebook able to buy its potential competitors, which are Instagram and WhatsApp, instead of having to compete with them. In 2020, about 65% of the entire US population has visited one of Amazon's websites at least once per month. This shows that the dominance of e-commerce platform in the US. Because of these economic concentrations, meaning the economy flows among the big tech and the people is higher, so the rate of new business form has halved since 2004. According to the Census Bureau, this is because the dominance of the big tech companies in almost all of the technology sector. Second, breaking up big tech companies will have more competition. Facebook is well known that it bought WhatsApp and Instagram. Facebook knows that the competitor with its Instagram has high potential to defeat its position in social media. So Facebook have to do something on it. Instead of defeat it by innovation, Facebook chose to buy Instagram, which avoids the competition between the features of what they have. On the other hand, all app developers have to put their apps in the Apple App Store or the Google App Store, and when they sell those apps, 30% of that money goes to Apple or Google. However, they still have to advertise on Facebook or Google to get customers because that is the limited way to advertise on digital platforms. This limited choice makes the new and rising innovation company hard to start up. Even they succeed, the big tech still even got the benefit from the success. By breaking the big tech, Google won't be able to eliminate their competitors by demoting the competitors' products on Google search. Facebook will face the pressure from the competitors such as WhatsApp and Instagram so that Facebook will improve the user experience and protect our privacy in order to stabilize its active users.
Diverse justifications are offered by those in favor of breaking up big tech. However, one of the strongest arguments in favor of such breakups is that it will lead to additional employment opportunities for highly qualified individuals, especially those with MBAs and specialized business master degrees. Now, there are plenty of businesses injured by Amazon. However, there are at least as many who are benefiting because Amazon acts as their broker for sales and marketing they may not have had the resources to do on their own. Today, over 3 million businesses actively advertise on Facebook. That is 3 million companies all over the world, 70% of them outside of the US. And Instagram is also another advertising platform where users can actively spread their products around. So the idea of breaking up big tech really means you're just costing plenty of businesses their selling platforms. So you have to start with the question, who is getting hurt? And then you can decide whether that group is worth your constituency. There is a market solution for the claim that tech giants are enjoying significant competitive advantages because of their network effects, which increase as more users join them. Howard Hovenkamp, a law professor, pointed out that by specializing, it is feasible to succeed in market with a dominating company. For example, a dating site can do well against, for example, Tinder or Match.com by targeting niches. He said they have all kinds of dating sites for older people, for people with specific religious backgrounds, and so on. In this day and age, most nations compete against each other with their development on AI and technology. Now, this is basically what all these big tech companies are doing, innovating new features and services. Now, if we break them up, we are losing the biggest advantage we have to the race amongst other countries. And this is because if we break them up, other smaller companies simply do not have the resources and investment money to put into innovation and technology development. And what this causes is that other countries like China, who seem to be already catching up with technology development, breaking up big tech companies can actually bring the USA's lead to a downfall. Now, what's more terrifying is that there is a company named Tencent in China worth $467 billion, and other companies that collaborate with it actually share their information with the China government. Now, if Tencent were to buy the other big tech companies, then that would mean all our personal information from Facebook, Instagram would all be revealed to the China government. Now, this is very scary as that can come in handy in if a world war were to happen. And that is just more of a reason not to break up big tech companies. Now, of course, breaking up big tech companies can actually pave a way for other tech companies to emerge. However, thinking about it, more and more people will eventually dive into this industry and many will start off their businesses. Now, the bigger the business, the higher the success rate. However, many small businesses will close up because it, they don't have enough resources to actually keep their business going. This is because many big tech companies used to serve as free selling platforms for all of these sellers.
As the opposition leader said, breaking up with the big tech company will cause the loss of opportunity for research. In fact, the big tech companies try to earn money in whatever way they could. Big tech companies are collecting our data such as web history, location history, and YouTube history, and uses AI to recommend us the brand or things that we might like it, and it will lead to data privacy concern. Most of the big tech companies such as Google, Apple, and Microsoft started their business from small until today. Breaking up with the big tech company does not lead to higher service costs. The big tech companies provide free services to promote and attract people to use their product, so they will rely on their services. After that, the user has to pay a higher price in order to use their services. This is because they had dominated that certain field and small business isn't a threat to them. By breaking up the big tech company, the small business would have more choices to promote their business rather than promoting their business on big tech company, which are very expensive compared to other small business. Small business are forced to raise their price of their product because the advertisement fee are expensive and customers have to bear those costs. If we break up with the big tech company, it will lead to more competition and lesser monopoly of that certain field. The big tech company does not necessarily give a huge advantage to the country. When big tech companies fall, the government is forced to cover the money to prevent them from going bankrupt. This is because when the big tech companies go bankrupt, the number of unemployment will increase and the economy might collapse. For example, after Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy in September 2008, approximately 26,000 of the employees lost their job, and some of the people chose to suicide because they lost a lot of money. On October 2008, the government addressed the mortgage crisis by infusing the funds into the US bank and purchasing toxic assets and equity. These are the reasons why we should break up with the big tech company.
I would like to talk about the second argument, third argument, and fourth argument from the government team. And first of all, I would like to talk about the second, data privacy stuff. I would like to say that breaking up these big tech companies in terms of data privacy might not solve the issue, and it might probably bring more harm than good. Why do I say this? Because it does not matter what kind of big tech companies like Facebook, Instagram, and they all use the same procedure for these safety measures. They have the same process in order to prevent data privacy from leaking. Dividing these big companies would not end up fixing the issues because big companies have more power in these procedures instead of small companies. So breaking them up will cause them to not have enough power and not enough resources for this kind of stuff, for their privacy stuff. So it's not a good reason for us to break up big tech companies. Am I right? So now let's go ahead and talk about the third argument, which is to get rid of the company's dominance in the market. Now about this topic, I would like to bring up that there are multiple companies that were dominant in the past and were then broken up into smaller companies. And what does these small companies end up being right now? They are now, some of them, currently even more dominant than before, or they are now still as dominant, or if not, even more dominant than before. Some even managed to become monopolies. Now, there is an example like ExxonMobil. They are now top 500 in the country. So yeah, breaking up big tech companies at first may seems like you will get rid of their dominance, but in the late game, they might end up being more dominant than you think, or take over the market. So it doesn't really solve the issue right here about getting rid of their dominance of in the market. Now, regarding the final and fourth argument from the government, I would like to oppose it by saying that while it does create more competitive and bring more competition into the market, it might bring more harm than good. Why do I say this? Because there are some companies that benefit from this company's competitive advantage. Now, for example, Amazon, we all know it's a huge company, right? And Amazon benefits from having smaller companies, and they serve as their broker, which means they give these companies resources for them to work on their sales and marketing and stuff. So it gives smaller companies some chance of competing in the market. So if we break up these big tech companies, like break up Amazon, they won't be able to like the smaller companies, they won't be able to receive these raw resources from big tech companies like Amazon. So what they do is, what this happens is, it does the exact opposite of what breaking up big techs are supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be bringing competition, but then smaller companies won't have enough resources to compete with the bigger ones. Am I right?
We have all come today to listen to the debate between two sides on whether it's better to break up big tech companies or not. What we have seen today from the proposition party, the government, is the stance that big tech companies should be broken up into smaller but many companies. What we heard from the proposition party is a more realistic approach that realizes that breaking up big tech companies will eventually lead to more harm than leaving them as they are. What the government party has shown you throughout this debate as are the causes of breaking up said big tech companies and what they will lead to, which are that this will offer more opportunities for small businesses to operate, that there will be more competition in the market if big companies are taken out of the picture, that big companies will lose their sovereignty over a huge part of the market, and that it will lessen data privacy concerns. However, as the opposition team has shown you all, that not only are those all small concerns when we look at it from a bigger perspective, the countries where the said big companies reside may suffer a huge setback. Breaking up big tech companies may lead to, firstly, the loss of research and development. Not only will it affect the company, but also the country it occupies if several big companies are broken up. Secondly, this will overall increase and higher up the service costs that the consumers, we, will have to pay to these small companies and businesses for their services. And lastly, this will give other countries a huge advantage over the country that had her big companies broken up, as these small companies may be bought out by foreigners, who will get the upper hand by getting the details and information and personal data, may I add, of the country and its people, and we will never know where they used it. Although breaking up big tech companies will lead to more competition and the probability of the breakthrough of smaller companies will increase, still, this is a small concern when placed against the other points of the opposition party. Summing up what had been said, we, the opposition party, believe that breaking up big tech companies is a misjudgment and that they should be left as they are.
I'm government repeat.
So I will present my team overall point. In conclusion, we have enough evidence that our arguments and rebuttals are correct and strong. First, most of the small and medium companies are forced to sell their product on large online shopping platforms. Because online shopping is popular right now and people don't even go to physical store to buy things. The platform will get some commission from their product and this will make the small and medium companies income decrease. Besides, the user information security is not guaranteed because people need to enter their personal information to create an account so they can start to use the function. Next, the big tech companies dominate their respective fields and control the economy. This will cause the big tech companies to release higher service costs because no other small business compete with them. If big tech companies start to fall, the country and people will be affected. Last, breaking out big tech companies will have more competition and give small businesses a competitive advantage. Small businesses will compete with each other and they will constantly upgrade and optimize their products to attract customers. After we show our arguments, rebuttal the points of opposition group, and evidence to support our points, breaking up big tech companies is the right thing to do.